Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, on a Breathe, Release, and Let Go Tuesday. This is a 2 for Tuesday. So I'm going to sit up here in my chair and deliver on command. Good to be here with you. 68 years young, bringing the juice here today. So if you're just joining me here and you're part of Josh Waxman's team, that is awesome. Jose, my homeboy down the highway from me, good to see you. Look forward to seeing you in July 18th and 19th. That will be number 7. This will be the 3rd anniversary of Millionaire Blueprint. So good to be here with you this afternoon. Have you attended 5 or will that be number 6? That'll be number 6 for you. Jose, good to see you. David, good to see you this afternoon. Ryan, good to see you. If you have a sober day today, congratulations. If you are experiencing sobriety, welcome aboard here. That is absolutely awesome. On a Breathe, Release, and Let Go day, I'm going to cover 3 words that are 3 of my favorite words. That is courage, acceptance, and willingness today on Facebook Live. So good to be here with you. I see Josh Waxman's team is here. All hands are on deck, led by Aaron Bovey. Aaron is the unequivocal leader of that team, and good to have you here with me, Aaron, and bringing all of your exceptional teammates. You, Jared, are the veterans of that office. Alexis, good to see you this afternoon. It was an honor to meet you in person, so good to be here with everyone. And David Hammer, I've known David for many, many years. Connor, good to see you this afternoon. Good to see all of you. So let's move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. Historically, this event began back in 1999, and it was originally called a women's workshop that I hosted from my home about 4 blocks over there. I have lived in this house since 2000, January of 2000, 25 years. So for those of you who are joining me, I've been hosting this live for multiple years, so many, many years, from 2000 to 2025. I then changed the call to a More Heart Than Talent Mindset call. That's where Josh originally started listening to it, and David Hammer heard it as well back in the day. And it was a 10:30 Eastern conference call. 2017, I changed it to what it is today, a Facebook Live, and here we are, And so today's content is courage, acceptance, and willingness, and you require the courage. That means the intestinal fortitude to be able to build a business, the courage to be able to look down the gun barrel of an addiction and say, that is me, the courage to be able to get up early in the morning and do an ice bath, a cold plunge, to be able to run and exercise before you go in and produce, and then the courage to own a business in free enterprise where you can create what the free market will bear. Now that separates the men from the boys, it separates the women from the girls, and it really separates the wheat from the chaff, because not many people have that courage. Young superstar Sophia Jade is here with me today, who's starting her career and just hired me to be her coach just recently. Sophia, thank you. At 20 years old. Josh Waxman hired me to be his coach with his own money in Newark, Delaware, March 2014, 11 years ago. I've been Josh's coach for 11 years, and he hired me with his own money in 2014. Emily Lou, good to see you. Emily Lou was my coaching client in 2006. Back in the day, and rehired me in 2024. So there's a lot of exceptional people here today. Courage, acceptance, and willingness. And Sophia, thank you very much. Tresley hired me this afternoon, and I believe that was your referral. So that's on you, girlfriend. Thank you very much. How about a fist five, baby? That's what it's all about, being able to share the wealth. So being able to be in the flow, ITF. So like this, it's OC, on command. That means right here, right now. So altar call, that is God. I'm surrendering to God, my higher power, and I'm going to be right here, right present. And with that energy right now, you will not be denied. Rachel, good to see you this afternoon. Rachel, honored to be your coach and to be here with you in alignment. And I highly endorse you, Rachel, as a exceptional entrepreneur and a woman of courage. So one day I'm gonna interview Rachel Maurice, who is a woman of courage who stood the gaff and stood up against medical tyranny and did what a woman does, and that's provide for herself and her family. And she is crushing it in her free enterprise business. I believe I also saw Amber Schiff somewhere in the background. There you are, Amber, another woman of courage. Amber is a multiple 6- and 7-figure income earner. At a girl, Amber, love, single mom, crushing it in Long Island. So there's a lot of crushies and crushers on here. David Hammer, first 6-figure month, crushing it, David. So right here, right now, declare to yourself that you will experience your first 6-figure month in free enterprise. Declare it. Don't think it's too big for you. Don't feel it's outside of your stratosphere. I have clients who've done it. Those of you who know Josh Waxman, he's done it. David Hammer is on this Facebook Live. He did it, and I experienced my first 6-figure month in June of 1997. And it wasn't surreal, it was real. I'll never forget, I was having dinner with my brother and my mother. They were visiting me in one of those rare visits. I lived 2,000 miles from them. And if you've ever seen that old commercial, David Hammer, you'll remember it, the Fog City Diner down on the Embarcadero on the pier in San Francisco. American Express used to have a commercial, and they used this little restaurant down on the Embarcadero in San Francisco called the Fog City Diner. And I was having crab cakes, I was having corn chowder, and I told my brother and my mother that I just had $133,000 a month, and my mother dropped her spoon, and she couldn't believe that had happened, because for her, at that time, it was surreal. To me, it was fucking real. I'd been dreaming of it. I've been romancing it. And that's what it is for you. It's a romance. And so I'm from a town this big in Iowa. So for those of you who are from small town, I'm from a small town in Missouri and Iowa. John Cougar used to sing, I'm from a small town. Kent Jonesy, my brother, is here also. Kent Jonesy was my client back in 2006 and 7. Kent drove my T-Bird, my 66 Corvette, or my 62 Corvette, and stayed at that house right across the street from me back in the day when I owned it. Kent's a stand-up man, long-term client of mine. So a lot of long-term clients are showing up here. So Waterloo, Iowa, out of way, baby. Waterloo is the home of Kurt Warner. So I'm Iowa bred and blue, baby, right down the middle. 3,000 acres. My grandfather had a homestead. My great-great-grandfather really, this is the true story. He staked out 160 acres and got a mule from the government, turned that 160 acres into 5,000 acres and became a multi-millionaire. If that land sold today, that would be Monsanto land that Gates would be buying up at $10,000 an acre. My homeboy Tom Nash has joined me today. This is amazing. All hands are on deck. Tom Nash has been my client since 2000, back in the day. A lot of character on today's call. Courage, acceptance, willingness. Tomas, my brother back there, I feel you. Ryan, I feel you back there. I feel you, Sophia. Start to romance your first $100,000 month. Rachel, do it. Go to a whiteboard and write, my first $100,000 month. See, you have to be able to stretch that. $100,000 month. $100,000 month. I'm from a town of 7,500, Clarinda, Iowa. Maryville, Missouri, a town of 10,000. That's where I grew up. I grew up in a small town. No one mentored me. No one took me by the hand. I worked on my grandfather's farm. I baled thousands of bales of hay, thousands. I worked for the neighbor down the highway who was also a multimillionaire named Harold Martin. I used to be his driver. I used to drive his yellow Lincoln Continental, and I used to drive him to Omaha, Nebraska. He had the holdings in a bank and a hospital. He was a hard money lender back in the day. I learned a lot about money from him. He was lending money for 8% interest in 1975 because he was wealthy. He was a bib overall millionaire. He had an old pickup truck. He had a sheepdog. He had cattle. He had pigs. He had miles and miles of hay that I baled, and I learned a lot of my skills of construction, machinery on that farm, on my grandfather's farm and on that farm, and that's when I started a romance. I am going to be a millionaire. I'm not going to suck air like the rest of society. The only job that I ever had, non-waiter or non-commission job, a man named Ernie Dipple hired me to work for E.F. Hutton. I lasted 5 days, 5 hangovers, and I was out of there. That was not for me. I never wore a tie in my entire career, and so I'm proud of that. If you ever see me speak, I will never wear a tie. I'm an anti-tie guy, unless I have to go to, back in the day when I had to go to court, that was a whole nother story, and that was a long time ago. But right here, right now, do you have the courage to dream big enough to have your first $100,000 month? Do you have the acceptance? Can you accept that you're good enough? Can you accept that today? Can you step into that power? Can you declare it? Can you claim it? Can you say, I am good enough? Can you believe it? Do you have the courage to let go of your story? Are you so done with this? Are you so done with your story? Are you so done with the payoff? Because if you are, it will be liberating to be able to admit that you've been a victim, that you've held yourself back because you haven't been good enough. Are you willing to do that today? Are you willing to claim that? Are you willing to claim that power? Are you ready to find that edge right there on that cheekbone, that bone right there? Are you ready to say, right here, right now, baby, I declare it? Because if you can't feel it and you can't see it, it ain't going to happen. So you have to be able to see it first before it ever happens. See, what many people, they want proof. So if you give me the proof, I'll believe it. Well, it doesn't happen like that. Here's how my proof happened. I was $100,000 in credit card debt. So the fact of this is in 1996. I don't even know how I had $100,000 in credit cards, but I had $100,000 in credit card debt at the end of 1996. Two of my friends came to me that lived in Malibu, California. Bill Whitaker, he was a third-team All-American safety at University of Missouri in 1980, played in the NFL for 4 years, and my friend David Baker, and they offered me a sales job that would have paid me $160,000 while I was $100,000 in credit card debt. I didn't trust them because I knew them from the drug days. I passed on that job. I answered an ad in the USA Today newspaper on December 27, 1996. Fast forward 7 months later, I had my first $100,000 month. That was in 7 months. That can happen to you, provided you are in the right place at the right time. You recognize it. You have the courage. You have the willingness. And you have the acceptance to be able to step into your power. This cannot come from weakness. This cannot come from being in your left brain. This has to come from the combination of your limbic brain, your right brain coming together, the neocortex of your brain where the vagus nerve connects, attached to your gut, so you have the gut feeling and you know it. Because if you don't know it, it's not going to happen. You have to know that this is going to happen to you. And then you want to put a time frame on it, somewhere between 1 to 5 years, depending on the company, the industry, the person that you are. Congratulations to my superstar, Diane Hunt. I knew Diane in 2014. Diane was my client. She walked away. She stood up for medical freedom. She walked away from being a nurse. She didn't vaccinate her children. She moved to Utah to escape the tyranny of New Jersey. She went through a few business ventures just like I did. And now she's in the right place at the right time. My brother Earl is here. Earl has all my CD sets going back in the day. I've seen pictures of them. So congratulations to my girl, Diane Hunt. Diane, I remember I took Diane to dinner at a place called Da Benito in Union, New Jersey, which is interesting. It's right by the pharmaceutical company Merck, M-E-R-C. So those of you know anything about Big Pharma, Merck is in Union, New Jersey, and I used to dine in a restaurant very close to that. I took Diane there exactly 8 years ago yesterday, bought her and her team a bottle of Dom Perignon, a $500 bottle of Dom Perignon, out of the respect for everything she had done for me in hosting events for me. Caleb Farina, so good to see you, my young superstar. So the juice, the edge, it's right here, right now. Caleb has it. Sophia has it. There's some young people on here. There's 2 people on here that are 20 years old. That's what our country requires. People who have the courage, people who have the guts, people who have the acceptance, people who have the willingness. I mean, you're here, right here today. It happened to me, it can happen to you. I was a late bloomer. I spent 14 years being an addict and an alcoholic. I got clean and sober, there for the grace of my God. When I was 31 years old, about to turn 32, and I knew God had plans for me, and I was not going to be denied. That has to be written in stone. It can be on a whiteboard, but that's your stone. I will not be denied. My first 6-figure year, my first 7-figure year, my first 6-figure month. What do you require to do that? You require belief in yourself. You require the ability to attract your reality, quality, like-minded success seekers who believe what you believe. So if you believe you can achieve $100,000 a month, there are other people in this country, in Canada, in Australia, who believe what you believe. And that is your responsibility, your ability to respond, to attract your reality, to steward these men and women, to be a man and woman of courage who can stand the gaff of tyranny, who can stand up to it, who have who have the courage to be your best self. You have to look down the gun barrel of anxiety, fear, and doubt every fucking day. Every day, Satan will knock on your door. Hello, I'm here. And if it's not Satan, then it's another deity called Baphomet. And that's what these twisted souls pray to. And your God is a God that you can believe in. And you must believe in that. You must dig into that. You must dig your well before you're thirsty. You dig your well while you're thirsty, and you're going to live on fumes for a while. You have to live on belief. And you may not have the money, you may not have the resources, but if you have belief, the Lord will provide. And that means that you will have to part the waters on your own. You may be destitute. You may be in a broken relationship. You're going to have to do whatever you have to do. You may have to leave that relationship, leave that job, leave that town, leave that city. You have to do whatever you have to do, but do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop pontificating, hesitating, meditating, levitating, procrastinating. Just be it. Do it. Step into your power, because if you don't, you're going to live the greatest pain, the pain of regret. And you will regret the opportunities you passed on when you see other people succeed when you passed on it. You will puke your guts out because you passed on an opportunity. Opportunities are never lost. They're always seized by the few who take advantage of it. And you want to be that one person who can stand the gap, who can stand up for it. That requires courage, acceptance, and willingness. Courage is a quality. It's not an emotion. It's accessible to you all of the time. When you feel that angsty angst, when you feel that overwhelmed anxiety, when you feel like throwing in the towel, when no one's bought from you for a week, a month, or a year, that's when you have to dig deep. You have to absolutely be on fucking fire. I mean, you have to dig deep. I mean, you have to dig so deep, you'll find out what you're made of in this business. Because everything's going to be stacked against you. The agenda, the world order, the government, your friends, your family, they're losers, most of them. They'll tell you you're never going to make it. Most of all, they're going to tell you to get real. My people in my circle of influence used to tell me to get real and grow up and stop chasing rainbows. Just get a real job. Why can't you be like your big brother Bob? Why can't you get a real job? Because I don't fit into a real job. It's not me. I don't have that. I'm a maverick. I'm a Mustang. I'm a throwback. I'm a buffalo. I'm not a cow. I'm not a sheep. I'm different. I'm unique, and so are you. And that uniqueness is what you market. And you have to dig deep in this. You have so much talent that you haven't scratched the surface on. You haven't used it. It's now is now. It's 2025. I'll tell you right now what's going to happen. So, I mean, I know this because I've studied it for 40 years. I understand the gematria code. I understand the numerical code. I know how it works. I understand how sports, politics, the black and white chessboard, the group that starts with an FM. So in 2028, the Olympics are going to be in Los Angeles. They're going to be in Pacific Palisades. I know who the president will be in 2029, and you might know too. And he's really been posturing for it. Doesn't matter how much negative publicity he has, he will be the president. It's already in stone. I understand that. So what are you going to do? You got 4 years to create hay while the sun is shining. You have 4 years in free enterprise, RFN, right now. You have 4 years to next level yourself and your enterprise. You have 4 years to create your first 7-figure enterprise. You have your first to put well over 6 figures away into whatever investment pools you can. You have 4 years to take your game to the next level. You have 4 years to find your teammates, 4 years to find your soulmate. This next 4 years is going to be the most important 4 years of your life. Do not squander it. Access the courage to be your best self. Accept where you are and stop complaining about it. Realize that you are where you are because you are where you are. And then have the willingness to put the effort in to change. Be willing to pay the price without knowing the cost. Be willing to put in the 14-hour days if that's what required. Be willing to put in 7 days a week if that's required. Be willing to live on fumes. Be willing to let go of whatever you think you're attached to, let go of it. Be willing to be so non-attached that you're not attached to non-attachment. When you're non-attached, you're in the freest state that you can possibly be, because in that state of non-attachment, you're so humble that you can't be humiliated. It doesn't matter what happens to you, you will access your humility first, and in that humility, you can absolutely stand up to any amount of tyranny, because you can bend, but you will not break in that level of humility. You will let go of your pride, you'll access your humility, and in that humility, you will begin to attract other like-minded success seekers who see the real person for who you are, a man of courage, a woman of courage, who's able to accept where they are, is willing to do it, and has the humility to lead by example and be an exemplary example. My name is Jeffery Combs, president and founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, bringing the red and the gold here to you today. Have a great afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and hit the record button. If you're on this Facebook Live and you would like to speak to me about my one-on-one coaching, send me a Facebook message and I will respond to you quickly. Gratitude for all of you who showed up today. Some really, really exceptional people, every one of you. However you made it to this Facebook Live today, I've been shadow banned for years, but however you made it today, I absolutely am so grateful to see Caleb and see so many of you. Yuritsa, thank you for all of your outstanding support. So many of you. Amber, long climb. Kent Jones was my client in 2006. Emmy Lou was my client in 2006. Tom Nash was my client in 2000. I mean, look at the duration of some of these people on this Facebook Live today. This is absolutely an altar call. Some of the most gratitude I've ever had for so many long-term clients. Breathe, release, and let go. Have an outstanding afternoon, everyone. Good day.